Hello students, today in our 11th standard physics we are going to learn a new lesson named laws of motion. This is the session number 1 and today we are going to learn the important topics about basics of motion, Newton's laws of motion, all the 3 laws, then types of inertia and inertial frames. Let's start with the basics of motion.
See, each and every object in the universe interact with every other object that we know, and in human interaction we not only interact with the nature but we also try to understand and explain the behavior phenomena of each and everything scientifically. So in laws of motion, the scientists have predicted a lot of laws regarding this motion, and earlier our famous scientist Aristotle said that force causes motion. Actually, this statement is based on the common sense, but any scientific answer cannot be based on the common sense. It has to be proved. It must be endorsed with the quantitative experiments and proof. But after Aristotle, in 15th century, there came another famous scientist, Galileo, and he said force is not required to maintain for motion. Okay, so it is not depend upon the force. Actually, he challenged Aristotle with the idea of by doing a series of experiments. He said force is not required to maintain the motion. He proved with some examples. See, in this picture you can see the initial position of the ball at L1 and the final position of the ball at L2. Okay, the surface is rough and the inclined plane have the same angle. Initial and final positions, the inclined plane will have same angle. Due to that same angle, the ball rolls from the top of an inclined plane to its bottom. After reaching the ground, it moves some distance and continues to move on to another inclined plane of same angle as I shown you in the figure. Let's see what's the second one. In the second one, the initial position is same and the final position is same. That means the angle have not got any changed. But by increasing the smoothness of both the inclined planes, okay, here we increasing the smoothness. There you can see some rough surfaces, but here very smooth surface. So by increasing the smoothness of both the inclined planes, the ball reach almost the same height, which is here referred as h, and from where it released. Now L1 in the second and L2 in the second planes. The motion of the ball is then observed by varying the angle of inclination of the second plane, keeping the same smoothness. Here we change the angle of the second plane L2 using some decrease in the angle. Okay, so when you decrease the angle, if the angle of the inclination is reduced, the ball travel longer distances in the second plane to reach the same height. When the angle of inclination is made 0, the ball moves forever in the horizontal direction. See, in the fourth picture you can see all this. Okay, fourth picture, there is no inclination, there is no the final position, so the ball goes to infinity. That means if the uh, angle of inclination is made 0, the ball moves forever in the horizontal direction. If the Aristotelian idea was true, the ball would not move in the second plane. Okay, because as per Aristotle idea, force causes the motion, but here there is no need of force to move that ball towards that infinite direction. Then the ball would have moved in the second plane even if the smoothness is made maximum, since no force act on it in the horizontal direction. From this simple experiment, Galileo proved that force is not required to maintain motion. An object can be in motion even without a force acting on it. So Aristotle coupled the motion with force, while Galileo decoupled the motion and Newton's laws of motion. Let's see what's the first law. Every object continues to be in the state of rest or uniform of motion, that means it have a constant velocity, unless there is external force acting on it. See, here I gave a picture here. In this picture you can see a boy is throwing a ball to the sun. If there is no external force, okay, the ball will reach the moon. But as per our scientific notifications, and Newton analyzed the views of Galileo and other scientists like Kepler and Copernicus on motion, and he proved much deeper insights in the form of these three laws. He proved that unless there is an external force which is opposing the ball from the sun, it will reach the sun. But there is an external force in the sun. That's why the ball reach the ground, because this gravitational force attracts the ball towards that ground. Okay, so here the gravitational force is referred as the external force, and using that we have also find one term, that is inertia. And what do you mean by this inertia? The inability of objects to move on its own or change its state of motion is called inertia. And inertia means resistance to change its state. Even the state can be rest or can be on motion. There are three types of inertia. One is inertia of rest, inertia of motion, and inertia of direction. I know you all well versed in these laws of motion in your earlier classes, probably your 9th, 10th and other lower classes. But here, depending upon the higher secondary, the examples, the terms have been little modified and elaborated. Okay, so study as per your level. Let's move to the types of inertia. What are the types? First one, inertia of rest. The inability of an object to change its state of rest is called inertia of rest. See, what are the examples? When a stationary bus stands to move, the passengers experience a sudden backward push. This is also due to inertia, which we regularly experience this when we are traveling to one or more places. Second one, when you beat a carpet, the dust particles comes out. And third, I gave an example, when it feels it's old, the leaves began to fall down to the ground. It's also an example of inertia of rest. Then second one, inertia of motion. The inability of an object to change its state of uniform speed or constant speed on its own is called inertia. You can see the examples. When a bus is in motion and if the brake is applied suddenly, passengers move forward and hit against the front seat. Okay, that also we can experience regularly while traveling. And the second example is a person trying to get down from the running bus falls forward. And the third example, which I gave in your GIF image, a person take a long run to jump to a long distance. It's also inertia of motion. That long run will give him a force to jump for a long distance than he expected.
Students, now inertia of direction. The inability of an object to change its direction of motion on its own is called inertia of direction. See, when a stone is attached to a string which is in whirling motion, and if the string is suddenly cut, the stone will not continue to move in circular motion but moves in tangential to that circle. Have you experienced this? This is because the body cannot change its direction of motion without any force acting on it. This inability of an object to change its direction of motion on its own is called inertia of direction. We have another example. Our protection through umbrella. The raindrops cannot change their direction of motion while it moves from the clouds to the earth. Next one, inertial frames. In physics, any motion has to be stated with respect to a reference frame. Newton's first law defines an inertial frame. That is, an inertial frame of reference is a frame when Newton's law holds true. That means if no external force is acting on a body, it will stay at rest or remain in uniform motion. For example, you can see the picture. A car is moving and a person is standing at rest. Let me explain, okay? For example, when a car is moving with uniform velocity v with respect to a person who is standing at rest on the ground. Now, as the car is moving with constant velocity with respect to the ground, to the person is at rest on the ground, both frames, that means with respect to the car and to the ground, are inertial frames.
Newton's second law. Whenever the momentum of the body changes, there must be a force acting on it. And the Newton's law states that the force acting on an object is equal to the rate of change of its momentum. That's why I told you, whenever the momentum of a body changes, there must be a force acting on it. And we know force F is equal to d vector dp vector into dt. Here let's see what is the P. The momentum of the object is defined as P is equal to mv. That means here you can see P is equal to mass into velocity. P is equal to mass into velocity. Here P referred to the momentum. While doing the derivations, we get F vector is equal to d into mv. We are substituting this mv instead of this P. So dmv by dt, we can split it as m into dv by dt. That means the dv by dt is equal to acceleration. Therefore F is equal to mass into acceleration. Force is equal to mass into acceleration. In the SI unit of system, the unit of force is measured in newtons and it is denoted by the symbol n. In most cases, the mass of the object remains constant during the motion. Okay, there is no change in the mass during the action. And let me explain the 1 Newton also. 1 Newton is defined as the force which acts on 1 kg of mass to give an acceleration in 1 meter per second square in the direction of the force. This is called 1 Newton, and this is also an important 2-mark question. See, it is to be noted that Newton's second law is valid only in inertial frames. In non-inertial frames, Newton's second law cannot be used in this form. It requires some modification because the above equations, this equations conveys that the fact that there is an acceleration, while there is an acceleration, the inertial frames cannot be present there. Newton's third law. Newton's third law states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, in this picture you can see what is the reaction for every the bullets are coming out from the gun. There is an equal and opposite reaction towards the backward side which that person is feeling here. Okay, any one of the force can be called as an action force and the other as the reaction force. Let this be, the one is action and another one is reaction force. Newton's third law is valid in both inertial and non-inertial frames. That you know more about the Newton's third law.
Thank you, students.